This morning Matt and I are out here in the garden checking things out. We've not been spending much time out here, as you know, and you can see our tomatoes have grown so much. This is the Tommy Toes, and they're literally way taller than I am. Those over there are taller than Matt. He's trying to find us some that are ripe, though. Have us a little snack this morning. It's another cool morning. This has been just an unusual spring. Our cool weather has continued. It was 57. We got up this morning. It's probably about 62, 63, something like that now. So it's kind of strange, but it just is.
Kind of nice.
Yeah, Matt says it's kind of nice. I was going to say it just is what it is. But we've not had our usual heat that we usually have by this time of the summer. But our plants are doing so good, they're not complaining for sure. You finding any?
1, 2, 3 little.
Looks like he's got us a few little orange ones from, it's my favorite tomato basically. Well, here, you're going to have to eat one too. They're kind of a little bit dirty there, but
Well,
you have to wipe them off. Matt weed-eated finally yesterday and mowed, and that's what it is. It's just got weeds where he's weed-eated. Our yard was about to get away from us, but it's looking better now. But it's amazing how everything has grown. It's just like a jungle, and as usual, I can see where we planted stuff too close together. And this year, I planted marigolds everywhere. You good?
God,
I told you these are my favorite, the ones from Carolyn and David.
I ain't had a tomato. I ain't eating tomatoes in months.
Yeah, and then when
Because
you
I ain't going to till we get these, and it's just so good.
yeah, when you don't eat them all winter. Then when you get these great ones out of the garden, they're so good. But anyway, my marigolds, I might have went a little crazy with them. So, and apparently I've planted a variety that gets really tall. So we may have to move some of them out of the way. They've kind of overtook the peppers, and I planted them way too thick. I was just being exuberant and thinking about how they were supposed to repel bugs and deer and all that kind of stuff. So, and everything back here in the back is just amazing, isn't it, Matt?
It's like a jungle.
It's like a jungle. Now our beans look really good in the front, and the okra and the squash and the cucumber, or the squash and the zucchini and the winter squash down there. But our tomatoes that are down there, they look really puny, and 1 or 2 of them even look like they're dead. So. I don't know what's going on there. We may need to try to fertilize them, or I don't know, put some compost around them or do something. Did we put compost? I can't remember. We did. We did put compost down there, didn't we? I think we did.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know. Anyway, that's just the state of things. A few weeks ago, I ordered some. Me and Corey were wanting, and Katie wanting some more medicinal plants. Remember, our herb bed kind of got changed up because of the grading work we had done and the beds on the bank, and our valerian was one thing that we lost, so we wanted to get it back. And then we've been wanting mullein. Me and Corey especially has been wanting mullein so that we can make some things with it. It's supposed to be really good for respiratory and different things. So one day we just don't have much luck starting things from seeds, those kind of things. So I thought, I wonder if I could find some live plants. So I did find a place online, and I'll put the link below in the description. They're kind of expensive. The plants are not that expensive, but then the shipping, because you got to pay for the shipping, is expensive. But we went ahead and just did it and ordered some of them. Ordered some different things that we wanted. Some things like the valerian and the mullein, but then also some other things that we'd been wanting for several years. I just thought, well, I'll just bite the bullet and do it, and then if we get them to grow, we'll always have them. So they've been sitting. They come in little pots. Thank goodness Katie or somebody realized that it was some kind of plant inside, and they opened the box, and they've just been sitting for 2 weeks on our back deck.
Yeah.
And so they desperately need to be planted. And along with our cooler weather, we've had a lot of rain.
Whole
lot of rain. That's probably why the tomatoes are as tall as they are. What day, Matt, did we go?
That thing's 8 foot high.
Yeah. I said those over there is taller than you. Yeah. What day did we go to I've lost track of all my days, but did we go to meet Steve at the cemetery?
It was the day before yesterday.
Yeah,
Thursday.
Thursday, I guess. Anyway, he told us, we was talking about, because it was raining so hard, I figured he was going to help us pick out the place for Miss Cindy to be buried. And I thought he might want to cancel because it was raining so hard, but he's like, no, it's about the only time I can go. Let's just go get it over with so the funeral home will do what they need to do. Anyway, on the way over there, we've seen several places that was like a lake where we've never seen water before. And we were, of course, talking about the weather with him, and he said his rain gauge said it had rained 6 inches in 2 days. So I was like, yeah, it's rained a lot. It's rained a lot. And then we thought this weekend's supposed to be no rain. Well, this morning we got up and it was raining. So it had rained this morning. So it may be a little messy planting those, but I feel like we need to get them in the ground, at least a few of them, even if we don't get them all in there. You want another one? Well, I'm not going to eat both of them. Here, you eat that one. I'll let you have that one.
I like to cut mine. I'm a little more sophisticated than you are. I use utensils on my tomatoes.
Matt uses utensils on his tomatoes. He's more sophisticated than me, huh?
My little pocket knife.
So good.
Things are crazy.
Oh my goodness. I was kind of afraid that I wouldn't have any, because one of the ones over there that we labeled David and Carolyn,
Golly.
it obviously was not. It's a Juliet. So I was like, did the seeds cross-pollinate? Because that can definitely happen. Typically not as often. It doesn't happen with Tommy Toes, but it can, I'm sure. But especially with big tomatoes, it happens quite often. And we plant ours so close together that that's definitely a likelihood. Anyway, but I was worried. Well, did I plant those seeds? But I'm sure me and Corey just got those mixed up too, because we've got some in this bed and some in that bed up there. So me and Corey are...
I got my breathalyzer ordered.
Yeah, Matt's got his breathalyzer for next year. He thinks that we were into what was the Walton's, the recipe?
The recipe,
The recipe, but we were not. We're teetotalers, but Matt's getting suspicious. We made so many mistakes. Here's the plants that we ordered. Some of them are Corey's, so we're not going to plant them, of course. And then Vicki Millsap's, Betty Satterfield's sister, brought me this chickpea plant, so I can't wait to see what it does. I may just leave it in here at least for a little bit longer, though. She sent it to me, and that's just so exciting. I've never seen one. I didn't even know you could grow them, so I'm excited about that. We're going to save it. Then we have some nettle. We've tried for several years to grow stinging nettle. It's really good for like allergies, like if you make a tea out of it, you can eat it, it's edible. But a minute ago I touched my nose to it, so now my nose is stinging. You do have to worry about that. The first time I ever was around stinging nettle, Matt, was me and you were backpacking and fishing in Haywood County, and I had shorts on, and we went through a big, before we realized, and I was like, this is horrible. But then I didn't know till years later that it had all these medicinal.
Right.
Yeah. And last year, Miss Verola, one of our friends, gave us some, but somehow we managed to let it die too. But hopefully, I don't know where we should put that, but where we should put it. And then we have the valerian. That's what we had growing back there for years that we lost when the grading work was done. And we've never really used it for medicinal, but it is like what do you call them, Matt? Like a
tranquilizer.
Yeah, like a tranquilizer. Yeah. So it's kind of like if you ever needed it, it'd be there. But it has beautiful flowers, so that's why we like the flowers on it. So we'll put that back. This is one that we've never grew before. Self Heal. Me and Corey was tempted by it. Self Heal. So if you know anything about it, you can talk to us about it. Tell us in the comments. This was just a dock, blood dock, which is edible, so we're going to try that. Another one that we've tried for many, many years to get started and could never get started, and if you do, then it just is there, and it's a pretty little flower, like a daisy, feverfew, but it can also be used kind of like as the name implies, like you would aspirin or something like that. So hopefully, since we got the plants, we can get it started. This was some clary sage that we just couldn't resist, so we're going to plant it. Then the mullein that was our main thing we were looking for. It looks kind of pitiful. I hope it makes it. It didn't. All of them looked good till we left them sitting out here all this time. And this is St. John's wort. I think Corey talked me into that one. It's got a lot of medicinal uses too, but we've never used it. So, and then one echinacea And then those over there are Corey's, and then some of those in the back, they look so pitiful. I'm gonna try to nurse them along and see if we can get them to looking better before we actually plant them. So now we just got to decide where to plant them at.
Okay.
So I think I'd like to put the valerian back there where we had it, but I don't know. Katie's onion forest has kind of took over, ain't it?
Yeah. But they won't be there long.
Yeah, we'll start pulling them up, so we might put that back there. I don't know. Some of them we could put in one of the beds down here, you said, so we could do that. One of the beds we didn't put anything in, you think?
You could. It's just going to be spread out.
Yeah.
You could pot some of them in a bigger pot.
Yeah, I could do that.
If you wanted to do that, and then have them out here with the rest of your stuff.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's
You're
see.
the boss, so whatever.
Well, let's go out back and see what we can fit in the herb bed.
Tumbler of doom.
I fed it down the windows out there down the
Please. They look nice, yes. They look great. That's what I tell you right now, the guy who did those windows did a good job. I'm like, you did them!
He did do a good job.
He did, yeah, they do look nice. They do. I just thought it was funny. He's like, let me
Wonder if
tell
we
you right
could
now.
put the valerian, Katie, down there on the other this end of the tomatoes, but on this side, like under that blueberry bush, or is that a bad idea? I've already got irises there.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think what it is, we had too many plants and not enough room.
Yeah, I know that's what it
The
is.
Japanese anemone, we need to pull some of it up.
Yeah, we could. That needs to be done,
I mean, so
but
it
it's just
takes
probably
over.
can't do it today.
And then you have
Okay.
somewhere to plant right there.
Yeah.
It's a pickle.
So in the herb bed, we trimmed back some stuff that was just growing out into the yard. And then we're just going to put two. We're going to put the clary sage, and then we're going to put the St. John's wort. Katie's going to... Well, I thought... Your daddy's got a shovel. I thought he was going to do the shoveling, but you do whatever, Katie. There you go. Katie's going to do it. You planted everything else in this herb bed. You might as well plant them.
That looks good.
Did you break up the roots on the bottom?
I did, but I just don't feel like I did it.
Well, if you did, it's fine. There you go.
Alright, come here, buddy.
There you go. It's easy to plant in here.
Oh, it is.
You can see how it has settled. I think the day we did it, Matt said it would settle, and you can see it has because you can see the bars there. But it'll be fine for this year. And we might, every year we'll probably add a little bit of compost, so gradually we'll cover those bars up, but they'll be fine for now.
This is the St. John's, right? Ooh, kind of in there. Get out.
They root bound.
They are root bound. The roots in this is pretty tight. Come on, little guy.
Right there, just in front of Katie, those big flopping thing, that's the hyssop. And a lot of people told me that it would have beautiful blooms, and you were so right. It's beautiful little purple blooms there. And that's a perennial, so unless it dies, it should come back next year. And it may eventually, I don't know, it might take over that end of the bed, but we'll worry about that when it happens.
Sweet. St. John's wort, clary sage.
All right, good job.
Plant.
Now we just need to do the...
Ooh, they smell good too.
Yeah, they do. I love the smell. Yeah, and you can see Katie's onion forest that she planted is doing good. Some of the ones over here was kind of getting shaded out, but I cut back the cilantro and the parsley. We'll try to use some of them. Katie's going to dry some of them, but either way, they need to be cut back so the plant can come back out. And we've not been here in a few weeks to actually utilize them, but they'll come back out now and we'll be able to. So we have, and we cut back the lemongrass, so we have some real smells in the deal going on. Smells wonderful
It
out here.
does.
Kind of making me hungry.
Very aromatic.
Yeah, very aromatic. So I decided the mullein we're going to put back here kind of on the bank. I think right there where they're at would be okay. That's the tomato that I threw down there is growing. But every time I see mullein growing, it grows everywhere wild on the sides of the road. It's just on a bank. It's just growing right there on the bank. Usually, it looks like poor dirt. So I thought, well, maybe we'll start it right here on this bank. Maybe that'd be a good place.
We got the poor dirt part of it.
Yeah, I know. We got the poor dirt part, so we'll try that. You could turn around and scoop you some of this.
I will.
But it may like poor dirt since that's where you see it growing all the time.
Well, if it likes poor dirt, it ought to really like good dirt.
Well, I know, but some stuff likes poor dirt. Anyway, we're going to put the mullein right there and see how that does. And we've still, back here behind Matt, where we planted you can see the little markers down through there, but a squirrel or a bird or whatever dug them all up, so there's nothing growing back here. We need to replant those. I think this week there's a good planting day. Maybe I'll try to plant some stuff on that day. Plant some seeds. We just haven't got it done yet. And the ones we're planting today, it's weird, people ask me about that, like, well, does it matter about transplanting or does it matter about seeds? Well, everybody has to figure out their own way, but I worry more about planting by the signs, by the seed part is what I worry more. I'm sure, but it'd be better if I could wait to transplant these. I mean, I would aim for that, but that don't always happen, especially not like in this situation where those have been sitting on my porch for 2 weeks and they're root bound and some of them are beginning to die, and we just got to get them in the ground, whatever happens to them. So we're going to go ahead for them. But maybe this week I can re-sow these back through here, because I had I think it was some of the pumpkins we wanted to try, and then I know there was like a Seminole, and I don't remember what else was back there. The only thing that's come up here in the front, the only one that wasn't dug up, is the Mrs. Emerson. So hopefully those will continue to grow, although that one kind of looks like something's happened to it right there in the front. Or maybe I'll at least get to see what those are like. Okay. Now we'll plant the rest in one of the beds, I think. We decided we're going to put the rest of them in this one bed down here. This is a good example to show you what kind of dirt we have. Look at that red clay. That's on the bank where Thomas scooped out this place. It seems like this end is worse for the red clay than as you go up that way. It's all red, though, underneath. Yeah. Anyway, the only thing in this bed is a volunteer tomato. And I first said we could pull it up, but then Matt said it's awful pretty. So, I don't know. Should we leave it? Leave it for now?
Yeah, we'll leave it for now.
Okay. So what you want to put the nettle in this end over here? So if somebody rubs against it.
You're going to let me plant
Yeah, I'm going to let Matt plant the nettle. Stinging nettle.
Are they 2 of them?
Yeah, there's 2. Crazy that it stings you like that, but then can also be eaten, be a medicinal. Katie and Corey drunk it for a long time, drunk tea made from stinging nettle for their allergies. You still do that, Katie, or you kind of quit on that?
I've not drank any in a long time, but so a lot of people don't like the taste, but I do. It's kind of got a bitter, earthy taste.
Bitter, earthy taste.
Well, to me it does. It's not sweet, it's tasting like cinnamon.
I don't like any kind of tea like that.
Love tea. Any kind of tea, I'll drink any of it.
No hot tea for me. Tastes like a barn stall, all of it, no matter what it is.
Mom thinks it tastes like hay, like how wet hay smells.
I think they smell good.
Nick says he likes it because he thinks hay smells good.
I might drink it. Somebody told me I should ice it and then I might be able to drink it. That might work. It might be better. I don't know. That one's got, I'm going to put 2 for good measure. Now we got some self-heal.
How far apart?
I guess just right there like you're doing. And we've never grown this again, so if you have advice on it, me and Corey just thought it sounded good. Yeah, it's really root bound.
Yeah.
What is that, the feed
Self-heal.
you, or?
Yeah.
Self-heal? Or is it self-heal? Or
Yeah,
feed?
self-heal, that is.
Self-heal, I've never heard of that.
Me and Corey seen it on the site where we ordered this and just thought, well, I have heard of it, but we thought it sounded good.
It helps you heal?
Yeah, it's supposed to be used in a medicinal way for lots of different.
Like cuts, burns, bruises.
I think so, and then I think other ways also for other things. We'll have to research more, and hopefully there's probably somebody watching that knows more than we do. Yeah, coming out the bottom on that one.
And then feverfew, is that supposed to be good for like medicinal?
Yeah, so feverfew is kind of like I've tried to grow it for years and just have never been able to. But it's kind of looks like a little daisy, but think of it like medicinally it can be used like aspirin or something. It's kind of like a natural.
Right.
Yeah.
What is that?
That's echinacea. You can just, I know what I didn't make a marker because there's only one and I know what it is. I used to grow it all the time years ago, and I lost where I had it would just come back and lost it out, and then I've tried several times and not had no luck with it either, so I'm trying again. Seems like I bought a plant last year, but I put it in my flower bed and I think it got shaded out. And then the feverfew. The feverfew kind of looks like, the leaves on it kind of looks like a, now I just lost my brain.
That looks like cilantro.
What's the flower that grows? Mums, chrysanthemum. I'm like, fall flowers, granny, what? All these things going through my brain. Chrysanthemum, kind of.
There you are.
Looks good. Feels a little cool for a popsicle, which is so strange.
No such thing.
Very good. It's yours.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we didn't get much done, but at least we got some of those plants in the ground.
Yep.
It's really wet with all the rain we've had.
Some things had to be put in the ground, they've been out a while.
Yeah. It feels good, though, to be out and about in the garden.
It does, doesn't it?
We've mostly got, or we have got mostly all the things prepared and the service plan for Miss Cindy, and of course there's still a lot to do at her house and things like that, but this morning we wanted to do this, and then also in addition to losing Miss Cindy about 2 weeks ago, I guess it's been almost 2 weeks now, time's going by so fast, we lost a dear friend, Kenneth Roper. He was something else, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
He's about Miss Cindy's age, almost exactly. And we met him, he's here from where we're at, from the Topton area of Cherokee County, but we met him many, many years ago when I first started writing The Blind Pig and the Acorn. He was a machinist by trade, and he was getting some help from Tri-County Community College's Small Business Center. And the lady, Cecilia's who it was at that time, she told him about my blog. And somehow he didn't, I'm sure she told him, I know her, she's my friend, whatever, but somehow he didn't grasp that part. But he did start reading it. And he read it for a while. He never commented or anything. And he thought that we lived in Mississippi. I don't know how he got Mississippi out of it. But eventually I said something about something local, and he realized that we were in the same county. And he started commenting, and then we made friends with him, and he's just been a dear friend, supporter over the years. And been really good to our family. Made us stuff. He was good to Miss Cindy. Miss Cindy and him were friends. We've talked about how strange that is, that his funeral's actually today. This is Saturday, and Miss Cindy's will be Monday. They were friends. They, even before she moved out here, they emailed on, back and forth when she's still in Black Mountain. And over the years, we helped him do stuff. He helped us do stuff. He come to all of our performances, made us stuff. I have the best black walnut cracker in the world. He made it. It's a true engineering wonder, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
But it's beautiful craftsmanship too, and he even put my name on it, Tipper. Dear friend, real mountaineer.
Right.
Yeah. And in fact, let's see, not this past week, all my weeks have run together, but the week after he passed away, I actually had the week of Ken Roper on the Blind Pig and the Acorn. So if you read my blog, you've already got to hear some of his stories, and I hear him talk about his love of the garden and his love of family, and he was just a...
He could flat grow a garden.
He could, yeah, he could grow a garden.
Yeah.
He really could. I can never be in a bean patch picking beans that I don't think of Ken, because years ago he told me that the beans in his garden, and he could put out the beans, couldn't he?
Yeah.
But he said they like to hold hands across the aisle. When they grow up, if you grow them in rows, a lot of times they will reach over and begin to grow. Sometimes we've let ours get to be where they're just about a tunnel, and you got to climb through. They always, if you don't watch it, they'll form almost a jungle in there that you got to beat through. But he told me that, so every time I see that, I think mine's holding hands too, Kenneth, across the aisle.
Yep.
If you're not a follower of the Blind Pig and the Acorn, I'll put that link so you can go read some of his stories and some of the things he shared over the years. I think when I looked, I had 155 pages of comments from him over the years. It's been a long time, and he commented every day. Sometimes he'd comment more than once a day. Mm-hmm. And he loved to tell stories about his brothers and his parents and his grandparents and people there in Topton where he grew up, and his daughters and his grandkids. So he'll be dearly missed.
He will. He's a good guy.
Matt helped him. He'd get Matt to come up, and he had gravity water way up on the mountain, and he got to where he couldn't. One of the last times he went up there, I guess that may have been the last time, he actually, he was getting more older and not as in good shape, and he slipped and tumbled off down through the laurels. It's really steep, ain't it?
Yeah, it's real steep.
And he always had a little dog, and his little dog Whiskey was with him, and he woke up and he was licking his face trying to wake him up. It knocked him out. And after that, Matt went up there some and helped him, because it could get the screen over the spring get stopped up, or the pipe would get stopped up. And
he had a tank that captured that water, and then it gravity fed from that tank down the mountain to his house, and the whole side of the tank broke out.
Yeah,
and the
you
tank
had
was
to
gone.
help him with that.
So, yeah, I went up there and he got it. I can't remember. It's been a few years ago. But he got either him or me, one got a plastic reservoir tank, and it was still big and kind of heavy and cumbersome, but what was there was a concrete tank, and the whole side just fell out of it. And of course it couldn't capture any water. So I drug that tank, I drove as close to it as I could get, and from there I had to drag it and pull it and rope it and try to get it through the laurel thicket, and got it up there to where the other tank was, and got it set and got it plumbed back in for him so he'd have water. And he was awful appreciative of that. Mm-hmm. That tickled him to death, and I was happy to be able to do it for him, because that's just what you do for people that's not able, try to help them do what you can for them. And I was glad to do it.
That was steep as a mule's face for sure, wasn't it?
Absolutely. My goodness, it's steep. But now when it got done and set and everything was ready, that water had a real good running go to get down under his house.
It did.
Because when it left that tank, it was straight down the mountain.
He was funny too.
Yeah, he's funny.
He could tell some of the funniest stories. He liked humor. He liked to tell jokes, and yeah. He was so kind-hearted though. He'd do anything for anybody. He didn't care if he'd never met you before. He'd give you the shirt off his back. So the girls are going to sing at his funeral, and then our good buddy lives kind of in the same area, Sonny Rickard. He's going to be there, so he's going to sing some. So it'd be nice to see Sonny.
Yeah.
Have a great video with Sonny. I'll link to that if you missed that, where I talked to him about his life. I guess him and Ken, they lived close together, but I guess they kind of grew up together probably too.
Yeah, I guess they would. They were somewhat close in age.
I guess Sonny's older.
Yeah, Sonny's probably, I think, it's a little older. That's another one that's a fantastic somebody.
Yeah.
They're getting to be fewer and fewer of them.
Yeah.
Especially the old timers, as your daddy would call them.
Yeah, the old guard.
The old guard, yeah.
So we're still, of course, sad about Miss Cindy and kind of grieving, but we're also glad to be home. It's nice to come back to our house, sleep in our own bed, be able to see the garden. And she was so proud of our garden. Every year, she'd just walk around and wonder. She was always just so excited about what we grew. And of course, we shared with her.
Yeah.
And she was just so, even this year, when we got the stuff on the bank, she just marveled at how, oh, it's just beautiful, it's coming along. She's so proud of it. She was here, I think, the day me and Corey planted the tomatoes. Not in the garden, but in the greenhouse. And she come out to see what we were doing. And so she was so proud of it. So it's, you know, it makes me think of her being in the garden.
Yeah.
She was really pleased with that we grew our food, and that we were every year expanding. She always marveled at what we could do. She was our biggest cheerleader for sure, in lots of different ways, but about the garden for sure. It's funny when you go through something like this. I felt the same thing when Pap died. In one way, it's like you lose track. Your time, your perception of time goes away.
Yeah.
So in one way, it already seems like all the turmoil of the last week was months ago, but it wasn't. It's still, it's still just this week. She's not been gone hardly any. It's just a strange feeling.
Indeed.
And she did die at about 11:20 on Wednesday, but by the time you have to wait for the appropriate people to get there, and by the time they got there, it was after midnight. So of course it looks like she died the next day. John at the funeral home told us that, I know you know what time she died, but this is what her death certificate will say. And I said, I know, I remember that with Pap. Pap's was the same day, but it wasn't the right time. It was like when the time it all was said and done, it looked like he died about 8 something or close to 9, and he really died about 6, before 6:30, right after 6.
Right after 6 o'clock.
Yeah. So, but even then, that's just added to the confusion in my brain, because I see the day that they're saying she died, and I think she died the other day, and I'm like, what? And then it's just strange.
Indeed.
but she suffered.
Yeah.
So we were glad. I mean, not glad that she died, of course, but we were glad it didn't seem that it wasn't long. And of course, we had hospice, so we had medication to help her with her pain and all that. But, you know, with Pap, he suffered a lot, like during the night before he died, with heart pain and angina. But when he died, he was standing up. He kind of pushed back. I always called it that horrible monster. Pushed it back, it seemed like, and was going to be okay, and was well enough to get up and put his clothes on and stand up straight, and then it was just quick. Mm-hmm. And with Miss Cindy, it was like a gradual decline and then almost like in a coma. And of course, I don't think she was in pain. I don't think that, but I just don't want anybody to go through that. Mm-hmm. She was in pain when the medicine wore off, you know, that part. Yeah. But to just, yeah. And while it was all going on, you feel like, oh my gosh, will this ever end? Well, this is just horrible. What's going to happen? What's next? What's coming? And then now, of course, on this side of it, I can see 2 weeks ago she was walking. It was not long and drawn out. It just felt like it to us that it was actually pretty quickly, and which is merciful. And I thank God for that He give us that mercy and mostly give it to her.
Right.
Yeah. But at the time, it felt like, oh my goodness, how much can this go on? You know, every day we thought, this is it. And Matt told us one day when we were kind of feeling like that, said, it's just not time. That's just all there is to it. It's just not time. And we all had to say, yes, you're right. It's just not time. Matt even said, maybe God's letting us go through this. He's teaching us something so that maybe it's nothing more than that we'll all be closer than we even are, because we had to depend on each other. You know, maybe He was teaching us all, but especially Corey and Katie, you know, a life lesson. But then on this side of it, we can see it really wasn't that long. It just felt like it when you're in the depths of the, you know, worry over your loved one, and you don't want them to suffer, and you hate seeing them reduced to what they've been reduced to, and somebody so strong and independent, not even able to get out of the bed, and you know, all those things.
Yeah, it's just a tough thing for anybody to see.
Yeah. You know, and even before she got to where she was kind of like in a coma, when we were trying to get her up, then it's simultaneously she feels bad, she's sick, and she's, you know, it's hard because you can't do those things. You can't no longer just stand up and go to the bathroom by yourself. But then also you have that, like she'd tell me, I'm sorry. You know, she didn't want to put us in that position. So all those things are tough.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
They're stressful, and stress will wear you out.
Yeah. We're out. Yeah. And so many people give us tips and advice. Thank you. You know, told us what you went through with your loved ones about reading to them. We did some of that, and playing music. We didn't really do that. Miss Cindy was a really quiet person and liked to be quiet. And it's funny, one of the evenings she told Katie, just kept going in there, checking on her, asking her if she needed anything. What she finally told Katie, she's like, I'm good, take care.
Yeah.
Like, go on.
Yeah,
you go on out of here. Which made us all laugh. Yeah. But we did do a lot of those things, so thank you. And of course, we talked to her and told her all the things we wanted to say. But me and Corey was talking about it. We were so blessed with our family. Family's so important to us that there was no big things I needed to say to her, because I'd already said them. I've said them my whole life, as long as I've known her. I've always told her how I felt, and we've always talked about deep things, and so we're really blessed with a family like that. But of course, we did tell her over and over that we loved her and that it was okay, and we were there, and, you know, talked to her, and Corey read the Bible to her, and but we appreciate all those, because when you've already been through it, like we'd never been through something like this, you do want advice from people who's, like Pap would tell me, Tipper, you ought to always listen to somebody that's been down that road before. Of course, he most of the time told me that when I wasn't listening to him, when I wasn't taking his wise counsel. But we appreciate all that, and we appreciate all the prayers and the cards and the thoughts and the good wishes and the emails. Thank you so much. We could never repay you for all that. And we are, like Matt said, tired. That's why I said it's nice to sleep in our own bed. And, you know, be at your own house and use your own bathroom, have your own stuff where you're used to having it, all those things.
Eat your own food.
Eat your own food, and yeah.
I went a couple of days there and didn't really even eat.
Yeah, it's hard to eat when you're in those situations.
Wasn't hungry. It wasn't
yeah,
a
it takes your appetite,
Yeah,
right?
it takes it away.
Yeah, we've had people bring food, which is so kind. Thank you. Beautiful flowers sent, fruit basket sent. Thank you so much for all that. We really, really appreciate it. I don't think Matt's took any naps, but one day even at Miss Cindy's, y'all all left to go. I can't remember. You and Corey had to go somewhere, and Katie had to go somewhere. So I ended up there by myself, and I went to bed, and just was like in this deep hole of sleep. Couldn't get up. And then I think y'all went to get us something to eat or something, and then we come back, and I was just like, could barely get up to get to the door to. And then I did that yesterday too. I just about 2 o'clock was like, okay, I'm going to bed. Matt's like, you are? I said, I can't go no further. And I didn't mean to, but I slept till 5 o'clock. And then again had to claw my way back to consciousness. I really wouldn't have woke up, and y'all would have let me sleep, but my phone started playing music randomly for some reason, and that woke me up. I don't know what that was about, but
It's your body telling you need rest.
yeah.
It takes. You won't just get over rest in a day.
No. It'll take a while, of course, to get your rest back, and of course it'll take forever to grieve. It's a funny thing about Pap. I thought in the beginning I'd never get over it. Of course I did. But then even now, even though I'm over it, sometimes something will make me think of him or see him or something, and I'll just feel sudden, quick, hot tears. So once you love somebody, the chaplain from hospice told us when Pap died, and then the lady Sarah, the nurse that come the night Miss Cindy died to do everything and document, she kind of told us the same thing in different words, but the price of great love is great grief. You know, she said that's a blessing to grieve because you had great love. And I remember the chaplain with Pap said that too. But so we're so thankful and lucky that we had Miss Cindy and had her for a long time compared to other people, you know. She was 76, so, and she would tell us that, you know, I've lived a long life, I've lived a good life. Miss Cindy had a hard life. All of her life wasn't good, but she chose to have that outlook. I think that was one of her greatest strengths, was just to rise above and do what she needed to do, because she had kind of a tough childhood and then some other things that were tough, but she was very strong.
Yeah, she was.
She was very strong. And never complained, you know, when we found out. She didn't even complain when we thought it was dementia, and then when we found out she was cancer, she's like, well, that was a surprise.
Yeah.
You know, we were all kind of like, well, that's a surprise. But she never complained, never moaned and groaned about it like I would, I know, probably, but she didn't. She was strong and just said, we'll take what comes, we'll wade across what comes. And you know, she did tell us over and over she's so thankful she had us, and what would she do without us. And you know, with the stuff with her, that when we thought it was dementia, and even this, her mind never got any worse, but we didn't know if it would or not. Right. It was just forgetfulness mostly, but we didn't know. So I told her more than once, I was like, you know that if you do forget who I am or who we are, we'll still be here. We're not going nowhere. Right. I said, you may think, who are you, woman, trying to tell me what to do? But I'm not leaving. But it never progressed really to that. She was just kind of, her short-term memory kind of really forgetful.
Mm.
But so for her funeral will be Monday. She didn't want a funeral. She was, you know, had her wishes known, what she wanted. She told us years ago, even before this, she didn't want a big to-do made when she died. She had told us what she wanted. And then, of course, when it became obvious she was going to die pretty quickly, I thought, oh, my Lord, what are we going to do? And So one day on the way back from the doctor, the cancer specialist, she asked me, said, you know, you're going to have to think about what to do. And I said, I have been. And I said, let me tell you what I think, and you tell me if it's okay. And she said, okay. And I said, well, if New March Creek Church, which, because Miss Cindy was not a member there, I said, if they would allow you to be buried there, I would ask them if you could be buried by Pap and where Granny will be. And she said, oh, that would be so nice. And then I said I would have somebody, a pastor, talk, and maybe Paul sing, and that'd be all. And she said, that sounds perfect. So that's what it'll be. Paul do some songs and have our pastor Chris talk, and just be a simple graveside service. And the church was wonderful to let her be buried there. So, and we'd ask, I was going to explain that too, we'd ask, or in the obituary we ask if anybody wanted to, you know, people want to give flowers, some people want to give to your favorite charity or whatever. We ask that people donate to the New Martins Creek Baptist Church Cemetery Fund. If you've ever had anything to do with a cemetery or anything like that, or even just going by one, you can imagine the extreme cost of keeping up a cemetery. A lot of work, thinking about the mowing and the weed eating, and in the summer has to be done pretty much every week. Yeah. And that's a lot of work for somebody, and generally churches have to pay somebody to do that. Well, that's an expense. And then just the general upkeep, like the one at New Martins Creek right now, they're redoing on the other side, not where Miss Cindy will be buried, but there's a set of steps. They're having to redo those steps because over time they've deteriorated. This time they're going to put, I think, concrete ones though, so maybe they'll last longer. But anyway, there's just upkeep. So we'd ask people if you are led. We're not asking you to do that. I'm just trying to explain what it was in the obituary. The part I wanted to explain was that it says, send it to in care of Steve Wilson. Well, that's my brother. He's a deacon of the church, but his wife, my sister-in-law Kim, is the treasurer of the church. But sadly, in today's world, the church does have their own mailbox, but they can't receive mail there anymore because people steal it. So, God, it's so sad to even say that, but it's true. So that's why they have to have it come in care of them, because if it goes to that mailbox, somebody will likely steal it, and the church won't get it. Sad state of affairs.
It's unbelievable, really, but it is.
Yeah. But so many of you have asked, so we'll tell you we're holding up good. We're sad, but we're holding up, and the girls are holding up good. I'm sure they'll do a video on their channel and talk about their feelings and experiences. And in one way, I'm really sorry all of us had to go through this, because I didn't want Miss Cindy to die, to go through this. I wish she was still here, the way I wish Pap was still here. But like she would tell us, none of us are getting out of here alive. But I hate in one way that Corey and Katie had to go through this, because they're my children, and they helped take care of her in ways that I could not take care of her. So they just were troopers, weren't they, Matt? You couldn't have asked for any better. But I hated to see them hurt and cry and go through this.
Yeah, they were fantastic.
Fantastic. But on the other hand, I know that it will strengthen them. It will strengthen them as people.
It will.
Strengthen their faith. And they'll be stronger after having to take care of their grandmother and help us take care of her, and it'll just be something that changes really their life.
Yeah.
For in a good way. Not that, again, I wouldn't wish this had happened, but you got to think of the blessings. If you look for the blessings, and that'd be one of them, they will definitely be stronger. Both of them will be stronger people.
Yeah, and it's in a good way. It'll be the good way of it to be later on.
Yeah.
It seems bad now, but. It is, but later on in life, that's where this will help them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they did well.
Oh, they did above and beyond. And they helped me with the things that I had trouble helping Miss Cindy with. They could do it, and with no problem. And they helped with anything we asked them to.
Yeah.
As far as I forgot to, I could say, which it says it in the obituary if you read it, but the pallbearers that we'll have are Matt's daddy, Tony, Cindy's first husband. And once Miss Cindy moved out here, her family of course it was us, but it become my family. So, every Christmas, every Thanksgiving since she's been here, and birthdays and everything else, it's not just us at Granny's or Stephen Kim's or Ben and Rachel's or wherever we're at. It's Miss Cindy too. Mm-hmm. She's there. Easter, anything we do, she's been part of it. So Steve, my brother Steve, and then his sons, Ben and Mark, mine and Matt's nephews. And then Austin, Corey's husband, and then Nick. And that's all. And I named them all, I think so. Yeah. So we're sad that Mark has to come home for something sad like this, but we're also all excited that we're going to get to see his little boy, Alec, and him and his wife. And so that's something we're all looking forward to. And they live in New Hampshire, and I guess they're coming today.
I think so.
They're coming today. So that'll be pleasant to get to see them. Mm-hmm. See the little chubby baby.
Yeah.
But we really appreciate all of you, all the kindness and the prayers and the things you've sent. But also, last week we didn't put up one video. So we're thankful that you stuck around. We hope that you've enjoyed this one, kind of our first step back into the garden. We hope that this week we'll be back to our usual posting videos, kind of back to normal life. But we appreciate you. When I would give the links to those old videos, you'd go watch them. A lot of people just went through and started watching old videos and commenting. We appreciate you so much. That helped us so much. Because of course YouTube, I don't think they would be mean if they knew that someone's relative had died, but they don't know that, so they just see that you've dropped off kind of and you've left, so then that makes them push you back down. But by doing that, you've helped us stay up, and we really appreciate that. We appreciate you. And we're always thankful that you stopped by to celebrate Appalachia with us, and we hope that you continue to do so. Whew, I'm tired.
I still ain't found clothes for 2 hours from now.
I know.
I don't have any that I know
I'm
of.
going to go to your closet right now and find some. I don't know what I'll wear. And I'm hungry.
Let's go find something to eat.
I ate breakfast. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Find something else.
I can't believe those tomatoes. It's so crazy.
Yeah,
I meant to say that in the video and I forgot, but I'll try to do a garden tour this week.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in the next week or so, or maybe even if it's next week, we can have some new potatoes.
They're ready.
I know, I'm just thinking about logistics and food we've got. So many people have brought food.
Yeah, I need to go back to work. I'm ready. Just about too tired to go back to work.
I know. I'm telling you, that's why yesterday I had to just go in there and was just like in a coma. Tired. See somebody coming to find us. No, maybe not. She stopped short. This weather's nice, ain't it?
Gosh, yeah, it's nice.
It's just so strange, but it's nice. Now this surely means that this winter I'm going to have a big snow. I'm going to have the giant snow. You think so?
I'd like to see a big deep snow and lots of smoke chugging out that chimney.
Sledding and building snowmen and walking in the woods and drinking hot chocolate.
I believe you might be a little past sledding.
I'm not past sledding. If it snows, I'm sledding. I don't know where I'm going to sled at.
Yeah,
I guess, remember, it has snowed big enough in the past that we slid down our driveway.
Well, y'all did. I didn't.
Yeah.
I'll get the ibuprofen out.
Yeah.
Have it ready for you.
Remember that year that I was pregnant with Corey and Katie? It snowed a lot.
Yeah, it snowed.
I mean, on and on and on and on. And we sled and sled and sled.
Yeah.
I was right there with all the little kids. Of course, I was
Yeah, you was
27 years younger.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna sled if it snows.
Alright.
You build me a sled with some guardrails.
Yeah, I'll build you a special sled.
Yeah. I think I've still got my sleds from way back then in the basement. Those plastic
I
ones.
thought those were the girls' sleds. They wasn't yours.
They were mine.
Did you buy them for you?
I think I did.
Okay.
I think me and Maria went and bought them somewhere back then. Yeah, it might be different ones because surely they would have cracked and dry rotted by then, I reckon. Man, we did sled though that year. And it
Yeah.
snowed and snowed. Stayed on the ground too. It was like a week and it was just a big deep snow. It was wonderful. Well, I guess we better go and I better find you some clothes to wear to Kenneth's funeral.
I guess so.
It just feels so good to sit here.
Yeah.
Sitting with the chickens.
Yep. But no, the girls. That's pretty much all I do.
Yeah. You got girls everywhere. You got Austin now at least.
Yeah.
I think Paul's gonna go with us.
Is it?
Well, I mean, he probably won't ride with us, but he's going. I've never been to Red Marble Baptist
I know.
Church. We'll just have to find it.
Gosh. I'm so dang sore now. I can't hardly get up.
I know. Well, come on. We'll go find some clothes and something to eat.
All right.